The salsa I'm gonna make uses kiwi fruit. Now, kiwi fruit is something that most people probably wouldn't think of as a savory ingredient, but when you pair it with a fatty piece of fish like salmon, it actually matches really nicely. The first thing we'll do is put the salsa together, and then I'll show you how to make a really good crispy skin piece of fish. So the salsa's simple. All these ingredients that I've got here, I'm just gonna chop them up, put them in a bowl and mix them. I'll show you a few little tips and tricks you can use when you're making a salsa. Cherry tomatoes. So for this salsa, I just want to chop I've got half a cup. I won't use all these. Half a cup of cherry tomatoes, and it's an assorted bunch of cherry tomatoes. So you've got some of the summer gold ones, some of the normal sort of Tom Thumb cherry tomatoes. Kiwi fruit. So just top and tail your kiwi fruit. So the same way that you would segment an orange. So find that little line there where you've cut, and then use that as the back at the back of the knife. So that's the little area that I want to run the back of the knife down. This is very much a summer sort of lunch, even a summer dinner dish. Right, so once you've taken all of the skin off your kiwi fruit, chop it in half, and then you're just going to cut it into battens, like we normally do when we dice something. So into battens, same the other way. Sort of a mirepoix sized dice, at 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre. You should be able to dice your avocado in the skin. So run your knife, sort of the same, that's almost 1 centimetre. Turn it over and run it the other way. Then get a dessert spoon. Pop all that out, and your avocado is nicely diced. So your avo is going to give you that creamy flavour, and when you're cooking something or preparing a salsa like this it's really lean, so it's a really healthy salsa. You want something, you're going to have a lot of acidity in there just because of the natural acidity that's going to come in the fruit, especially if you're getting the fruit when it's nice and firm. It's not overly ripe, so you don't have a huge amount of sugar development. So next, red onion. I'm only going to use half of a red onion. So you want little thin slices that way. Cut through like we did with the kiwi fruit. Sort of take the cheek out, and then same back the other way. You're going to end up with what's called a brunoise. So really fine dice. Pop that in. My chili, I'll use half a chili. So I'm going to take the seeds out just because if the kids are going to eat this, we don't want them to be too hot. Half a chili in. So I'm going to add the juice of half a lime. It's going to do a couple of things. One, it'll stop that avocado going brown. So the acidity is going to stop that oxidation of our avocado. My sweetness is going to come from palm sugar. It's going to probably 1/4 of a block of palm sugar. Now, if you can't get palm sugar, brown sugar will do. Because we're using things that are quite firm and the tomatoes themselves are quite acidic, we want to try and balance that out a little bit. So mix all that together. A good pinch of salt. Right, so our ketchup manis, it's a thing that's going to hold everything together, and a little bit of oil. We don't need a lot because we didn't add much of the lime juice. Now it's time to cook our salmon. So crispy skin salmon. We've got salmon portions here from Huon Aquaculture, my favourite salmon producer in the whole entire world. These have been already portioned up for us, skin on. And most people don't know, it's actually the scales on the fish that help you create a really good piece of crispy skin. The scales melt, and that's what creates that glass shard. So don't worry about getting scales off. These have been through the process of being gutted and filleted and broken down for you anyway. But don't worry about trying to scrape more scales off because you actually want them for a nice piece of crispy skin. A little bit of oil in our pan. This is a really well oiled and seasoned pan anyway because it's been worked to death in the restaurant. I don't want this to be super blaring hot. The first thing that's going to happen when I put this in there is it's going to buckle. The skin is going to try and move away from the heat, and we want to stop that happening. So you normally use a fish weight on top. If you don't have a fish weight, it doesn't matter. Just put your hand on top of it. It'll eventually give and flatten back out again. All right. The hand on top. to hold it in place. And we're going to cook most of this. 90% of this cooking is going to be done on the skin because we want that skin to be nice and crispy. So you'll see the fish change colour as it goes through. And then for about 30 seconds, we're going to turn it over and cook the flesh side. That's called kissing the flesh. So for about, I reckon this is probably a 4-minute piece of fish, 4 to 5 minute piece of fish. 4 of those minutes are going to be on the skin, half of a minute's going to be on the flesh. All right, that's been flipped and it's had 30 seconds. That's medium rare, which is what I want it to be. You can see it's still got that little pink blush in the middle. That's going to keep cooking when I take it off the heat. So I'll take that off, let it rest, and just let it cook through while it sits there. It's only going to rest for about a minute while I get my herbs for this salad. Just want to pick the leaves. I don't want to go too hard on the mint because it can be overpowering a little bit. Coriander, just tear that. Give that a stir. So we've still got those fresh herbs that have just been added. So they're going to be vibrant, they're going to have a great smell. They're going to break down, start to go slimy. You see all those beautiful colours in that salsa. And like I said before, there's enough salsa there for, if you were really pushing it, you probably get 4 portions out of this. Fish on top. A little bit of salt to finish. And that's my kiwi and salmon salsa.